Hey y'all, Chris and Jazz here. We are excited to talk to y'all today about our Costa Rica move.
Yay!
So today we wanted to spend a little time just one introducing ourselves for those who may not know us, answering some questions that were submitted prior to this, and then of course, if any of you have questions along the way, answering your questions live. So yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get started. Oh, I see Kamika is on from Will Balance Wallet. Hi. Thanks for joining. So, I guess a good way to get started, let's just introduce ourselves. Curtis, you
Okay.
want to
Yeah.
talk about us a little bit?
I'm Chris. This is my wife, Jasmine. Jazz and I have been married for like 3 years, I think.
Yes, it'll be 3 years this year in November.
Yeah. And we've lived in Texas for almost a decade together. Originally both from Ohio.
Hmm.
And recently, within the past year, we've been bouncing back and forth the idea of moving abroad, and we finally come to the conclusion that yes, we're going to move abroad, and we ended up picking Costa Rica as the country we're moving to.
Right. Yeah. So I guess that's a good little roundup of where we are today. Since we decided we're moving to Costa Rica, we have received a number of questions from friends, from family members about the move, and I know we got a few of those questions that we're going to cover today. And then, of course, like for anyone who's here who may be wondering about what it's like for that process to move to Costa Rica from the States, or if you're just curious about something that's a little unconventional, you come to the right place. We're going to talk about all of that today.
Yeah.
Great. So I guess we can talk a little bit about some of the questions that were submitted, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then just as a reminder, if you guys have questions while we're going through our items here, go ahead and post them in the chat. We're watching that as well, and we'll answer those in the end. Okay, so let's start with our first one that we typically get. All right, so the first one we received was, what are we going to do for money? So the question is, what are we going to do for money once we get to Costa Rica? Chris, you want to start this one?
Yeah, sure. So I'm currently working as a construction manager for a custom home builder now. I will not be doing that in Costa Rica. I won't be working digitally. That's not something I can do digitally. And when you first move to Costa Rica, you actually cannot work until you become a permanent resident there. They won't grant you any type of working visa.
Mm-hmm.
So can't work within the country or take money out of their economy, but we can work digitally. So Jazz is actually keeping her job, her current job, and she's working digitally from Costa Rica. I'll let her talk about that. But we have started a new blog together called Blogging Money Life, and I will be working on Blogging Money Life full time. And probably be making some money as a professional surfer.
In due time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Chris is right. I know that I should be able to take my job with me to Costa Rica, which is nice because right now I work remotely. So I'm a digital marketer, which is great because that means that I can do that from anywhere. One of the big reasons why we decided to go to Costa Rica actually, and when it comes to work, is because we are still in a central time zone. The biggest difference between our time zone here and in Costa Rica is that they don't observe daylight savings. So I know there's a portion of the year where we'll be in Mountain Standard Time, I believe, when daylight savings happens. But the time zone is so close that it's really easy to still work, even if I want to work Eastern time zone hours with the company or Pacific Standard Time Zone hours. Still really good. So I should be able to take my job with me to Costa Rica, which is nice. Like Chris mentioned, we'll still be blogging in Costa Rica, which is great. But we're also going to do real estate investing. So fun fact for people who don't know, Chris and I are also real estate investors. We owned 2 properties prior to selling one. recently, and we want to do some kind of real estate in Costa Rica. Just want to talk a little bit about what that's going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot to figure out. The market's a lot different in Costa Rica than it is here in the United States. The little that I do know about the market, houses do not appreciate in Costa Rica as well as they do here. So we're thinking more along the lines as doing Airbnbs and getting a couple houses, small units on the beach or close to the beach,
Yeah.
and renting those out Airbnb style.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. That's going to be a whole new learning curve for us as far as like different real estate and understanding that part of it for sure. So cool. That question was, what are you guys going to do for money? So that's a good one. The second question we received was, what are we doing with our pets? All right, so Chris, you want to take this one?
yeah, we're just gonna open the front door and let them roll, and
No, we're not.
they'll survive.
We're not doing that to our poor kitties.
No, they're coming with us. Yeah. So Jazz is. I don't know why you asked me to take it. She's kind of working behind the scenes with getting those pets over there. But there's different things she had to do or has to do. She's getting. She had to get them all taken to the vet for special shots that are required within Costa Rica, and then she has to file specific paperwork certifying that yes, these cats have received their shots and they're not going to bring any kind of crazy disease over there. And
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, we have two cats, Suki and Katniss. They're our babies. We wouldn't just let them roll. So they're definitely coming with us. And Chris is right. There are some steps you got to take just to make sure that they're vaccinated. And I know once we have a date, which we don't have an exact date yet for when we're going to leave, we have to call into the airport and let them know that we're bringing our cats with us, because they usually have a vet in the airport to check on them once we get to Costa Rica to make sure that they're good to go and they see all of our paperwork. So that's something we can't do until we have our date and our plane tickets.
yeah. Oh, and Jazz is actually making a video for that too.
Yes.
She took our cats to the vet to get their first round of shots, and she took the camera with her, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, if you're curious about what that looks like, you should see a video on that soon. I see we have a couple more people who jumped in. Hey, Everyday Spokane. Everyday Spokane also said bye, kitty. No, we're not leaving our kitties.
Oh, funny story. Actually, the first time we went to Costa Rica, the week before?
It was days before.
The days before we were supposed to leave, the cat got out. It's a Bengal cat, and first off, you're not supposed to let Bengal cats free because apparently they could change the ecosystem. And it got out, and we didn't end up finding it until hours before we left for the airport.
Yeah, I was stressed. I was saying, like, I don't know if we're going to make it to this vacation because I'm not leaving my babies in the street. But we found her. I think we found her like midnight.
Yeah, it's like 12:30.
We had to like get on the plane at like 6 a.m.
She was on someone's porch, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 blocks away from our house, and yeah.
She was missing for 3 days. Oh, I was so stressed.
It was interesting.
Yeah. So, all right. What are we doing with our pets? We're taking them with us, you guys. Okay. Other question that we received is, where will we live? Where will we live? All right. So I can leave with this one if it's okay with you.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So where we're going to live. This is something that I feel like we spent a lot of time trying to figure out where we're going to live, just because it's beautiful everywhere. Like, there's so many great places in Costa Rica. Like, you have like mountainous area, and then you have beachy area, and then you have like city area, which I love all of those things. I think we decided on beachy area as far as where we wanted to go, and then we worked with Sarah Elena, who's our Costa Rica mentor. And she recommended a place called Playa Hermosa to us. And it's a small beachy town not far from Jaco. And we know that that's where we're going to start, at least.
Yeah, so we plan on we'll get a place to kind of base ourselves out of and spend the first 6 months to a year traveling around, hopping around, and figure out where we actually want to settle down, put down some roots. And so yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely want to stay close to the beach.
I do too.
So, well, that's settled. We'll stay close to the beach.
I just want to be, I want to be in a place where it's easy for me. If I want to go like on a nice hike where it's a little mountainy, or where's the other place? Oh, if we want to go in a city and like maybe go shopping or something, like I want to be able to go there too. So ideally beach, but be able to easily drive to those places we want to go. And we wanted to check out some of those other things too.
Not too far from International Airport. So.
Oh yeah, that's important too.
San Jose, couple hours at most, I'd say.
Right. So things to keep in mind for sure. All right, so where are we going to live? So we answered that one. All right, another question we received is, why are we moving to Costa Rica? All right, Chris, is all you.
Okay, why are we moving to Costa Rica? The simple answer is because we can. And I mean, I say we can. I mean, we're able-bodied. As Americans, we have those passports that let us go to many places, many other countries in the world. And saying we're moving to Costa Rica, it does sound shocking. But sounds shocking and maybe difficult, but when you break it down into baby steps, it really doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
you say that, and it's not that far either, like practically.
Oh yeah, it's not that far. I mean, if you can get there. Say you're flying out of Florida, you can get there in as little as 3 hours for like a $300 ticket, round trip ticket. Jazz mentioned earlier it's in the same time zone. So it's not that far. We're both originally from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
We moved to Texas together, and this is, I guess, essentially doubling the distance. Maybe a little bit more than doubling the distance than our first move, but it's not terribly far away. The steps are simple when you just kind of break them down and take it one step at a time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you make a good point, though. I feel like we're probably more inclined to do something like this since we already moved across the country once.
Yeah.
I think we're just trying to follow the warm side, or maybe.
Well, there's other reasons, too. It's a bit of excitement. We've been here for 10 years and kind of fallen into the same old dull routines. And, there's excitement that comes with moving to a new country. It'll broaden our minds where there's going to be new cultural experiences for us. The main language there is Spanish, so it's going to force us to learn another language and get good at it. They do speak plenty of English over there, so that too, that's good. Yeah, we'll also be able to look at the United States from a kind of an outsider's perspective. I mean, not total outsider's perspective, but we'll be like kind of looking through the windows as someone who used to be inside, I guess.
Oh yeah. That's all good reasons. And then, I think Costa Rica too. It just captured us. When we went to visit a couple of years ago,
it's beautiful.
I remember before we even talked about moving to Costa Rica, we passed some of the real estate and saw some prices. Let's just look at it and just see what it is. Well, and we remember thinking it was super affordable.
I remember sitting down. We went there with two other couples,
mm-hmm.
and we were sitting down eating breakfast one morning, and I was thinking, what would it take for us to, what would we have to do to live here? And we're just kind of spitballing the idea, and really it wasn't much, and it was super affordable, and man, we could, if this is something we wanted to do, we could make it happen.
Right.
And just so it turns out, we ended up doing it only a couple years later, or we're about to do it.
Right, yeah, it's funny. I don't think either of us were seriously considering moving to Costa Rica. We did. We did put out there. We put out there in the universe, this is doable.
I planted
nice.
the seed in our mind.
Well, here we are. You know,
Mhm.
we're taking the steps to move to Costa Rica. But yeah, long story short, there's a lot of reasons. Honestly, there's so many reasons we're moving to Costa Rica. We're going to do another video on why we're moving to Costa Rica. Because when you start looking at like the environmentalism in Costa Rica, and then just like I don't know,
they're like leading
healthcare, just so many things.
Yeah.
Like,
shoot, they're leading the world, I think, in renewable energy. I think like 98% of their country. I could be off, way off. I mean, it's at least 90% of their country is powered by renewable energy. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And then like recycling. Didn't you say they outlawed plastics or?
So they haven't yet, but they will be the first country in the world that has completely gotten rid of single-use plastics. So the fact that that's even something they're working towards, we can barely do that in a state in our country, just to show you like how progressive they are when it comes to that. So yeah, it's interesting. It's a completely different lifestyle. Just the entire Pura Vida way. So Pura Vida is something that they say very often in Costa Rica, which just means translates to pure life.
It's like their mantra.
Right, and
everybody says it.
They're all about just like living your life, right? Don't get bogged down with things that just don't matter. Like, you know, worrying about work. I didn't see anyone worrying about anything. Quite honest, don't worry about being late anywhere. Don't worry about like, you know, material things or possessions.
Sure. And that could be a huge adjustment for us too, because I think part of Pura Vida is like, don't worry about showing up on time. And I'm a pretty punctual person. Like,
yeah. Yeah, that's going to be an adjustment. But it's nice too, like to just kind of like go somewhere and kind of embrace that instead of holding on to all these things these little stressors that I feel like kind of weigh on you on a day to day.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of reasons. Like I said, we're going to make another video about that as far as like why we're moving to Costa Rica, because there's just so many, and we definitely want to talk through like all the different reasons for that.
Do we got anything else on the questions?
Those are all our submitted questions. So I guess we can get into some of our questions we have from our live viewers. Okay, so everyday's. Okay. So Well Balanced Wallet asks, do you know the cost of living in Costa Rica?
Yeah, I mean, it's more affordable. The dollar is, United States dollar is stronger over there. Or, yeah, it's stronger there.
Mm-hmm.
Cost of living, let's see. So, I guess if you want to live like an American, you're going to pay American prices.
Yeah.
If you want like American snacks like Doritos or Snicker bars or American brands in the grocery stores, like if you got a favorite brand of cereal here and you don't want to eat the Costa Rica version, you're going to pay American prices and, you know, maybe even a little more for that stuff because it's all imported.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to eat fresh, which is something we're excited about, and go to the farmer markets and stuff, that fresh food is much more affordable. What else? Labor is super inexpensive there. Most expats that I've been talking to seem to have a housekeeper and a gardener, and the average wage that they're charging is like, I guess people are saying like $5. I'll have to look into this more, but $5 an hour for a house cleaner and for a gardener is roughly the standard, or maybe even a little bit above the standard wage. So I don't know. It seems
it ranges. Like, just sum it up as far as like cost of living. I know when we were looking, what I've seen most was between $1,000 and $2,500 a month for cost of living. But it, you know, to Chris's point, it really does depend. Like some people, they spend way more than that a month on, you know, if you walk into their house and you feel like you're in the U.S. Yeah, definitely spending more for their living and just different things.
I have heard like cost of electricity is more expensive there. Internet seems to be pretty on par with what's going on here in the United States. Rent, depending on where you are, if you want to live in a tourist area like Tamarindo, maybe even Jaco's kind of touristy a little bit, those areas will be more comparable to the rent you're paying here. But also, you got to factor in, like, man, you're on the beach. So
Oh, that's a good point.
if you're
yeah.
paying $1,500 a month, or I'm sorry, if you're paying $1,200 a month for like a 1,500 square foot home that's on the beach, you know,
That's
that
still
you,
really
you
affordable.
oh man, you're not going to find that in the United States. No way. So I guess it's hard to compare apples to apples. We set a budget for ourselves actually, so we're gonna live on $2,500 a month as a couple starting out over there until we figure out like exactly how it's gonna work for us. But and from our research, that should be plenty of money to live off, which is a fraction of what we're doing here.
Right.
So
Yeah. So that should be good as far as like cost of living. Long story short, it varies depending on what kind of lifestyle you want to live. We have a question from Everyday Spokane. What parts of Costa Rica are you looking at for living? So as far as parts we're looking at, we're going to start in Jaco.
Outside of Jaco.
Yeah, a little beachy town outside of Jaco called Playa Hermosa. But
Which is on the Pacific side,
yeah,
Costa Rica.
yeah, Pacific Coast. But we're gonna explore, right? I know there's some other places I was interested in. I wouldn't mind looking up, like going back to the Tamarindo area. I know I don't want to live there because it's expensive. It's definitely comparable to the States, but there's some beautiful areas there.
You were also saying you really wanted to check out
Playa,
Liberia.
so Puerto Viejo.
No,
Where-
on the Caribbean side.
Yeah, Puerto
Okay.
Viejo on the Caribbean side, close to Limon.
Oh, Limon, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm interested in that area. The southern part of Costa Rica is supposed to be very interesting too. It's definitely more like wildlife-y, not as developed. I don't know if I would live there, but I'm interested in it. I don't know exactly like where we're going to end up
Yeah.
in Costa Rica.
We haven't been there yet. We don't have. Oh, I mean, we haven't traveled all around the country yet, so we don't really know what these areas are like firsthand. So we're gonna be exploring. I'd like to stay out of San Jose though. San Jose is the capital. It seems like it's probably the biggest city in Costa Rica,
Right.
and it just seems a little too busy for me.
Mhm.
So
San Jose though, that's where there's a lot of the best hospitals are in San Jose. I know that if you have like a not primary care, but like a specialist doctor for something, San Jose is probably where you're going to be. I know we spoke to Sarah Elena, like she had her baby in Costa Rica, and she said she actually got an Airbnb a month before she was due in San Jose because that's where the best gynecologists or OBGYNs are in San Jose. So while I wouldn't want to live in San Jose, I agree with you, Chris. I'd rather be on the beach. And we may have our reasons to be there for a short window of time.
yeah, we can live outside of San Jose.
Yeah, yep,
Don't
that's it.
necessarily have to live in it.
That's true. That's true. So yeah, a lot of places we're considering as far as Costa Rica. All right, what else do we got here? Oh, so many questions. All right, Everyday Spokane. Do your cats have to quarantine in Costa Rica like they have to in Australia?
Ooh. I don't know. We'll find out.
As far as we know, I don't think so.
I haven't heard anything like that. I follow a number of Costa Rican expat groups, and people are constantly talking about their pets, but I haven't heard anything about that. Wow, they got a quarantine in Australia. That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I don't know how you would like quarantine. How do you quarantine your pets?
Put them in a cage and tell them not to. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. From what I've seen from other people, and I know there's a lot of people in groups that they just moved this year or last year during COVID to Costa Rica, and I haven't heard of anyone saying they have to quarantine their pet, but they do have to make an appointment with the vet to meet them at the airport. You can't take your cats or your pets out of the airport until they've been inspected by a vet. So that's all I know. That's the closest thing to quarantine.
I didn't even know that. Told you she was taking care of the pet deals.
Well, there you go. Kier Smith says, "How will you cope with being so far away from family and friends?"
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a tough question.
that's one of the reasons we chose Costa Rica. The runner-up country of Costa Rica was
New Zealand.
New Zealand. Sorry, slow. Yeah, it was New Zealand. We chose Costa Rica over New Zealand because of its proximity to the United States, and we're in the same time zone. So we'll be able to make phone calls back and forth in real time, and we'll be able to travel back and forth fairly easily, and hopefully people, friends and family, come to visit us in Costa Rica. We moved from Ohio to Texas. Most of our family is, well, extended family at least, is in Ohio. Although we got many of our family members to move down to Texas. A couple of her sisters, my sister moved down here. We already had our aunt down here, and our grandma moved down here, and an uncle moved down here. So maybe everyone starts moving to Costa Rica.
Fingers crossed. That's our ultimate plan, you guys. But honestly, I think 2020 has proven to me that it is definitely possible to still maintain strong relationships with people, even though you're not physically with them. Like, I think about a lot of my friends who I literally have not seen them for a year, or several months, 6 to 8 months, and they live a city away, or probably down the street, and I still I Skype with them, we text, we do video calls. I've used every video platform possible this past year, and honestly, like 2020 has taught me that my friendships are definitely deeper than having to physically be in front of them, be in front of people.
Shoot, and even before 2020, a number of our friends moved out of state or
for
hour plus away. So, yeah,
right.
I guess we're kind of used to it.
Yeah, we've kind of conditioned ourselves like, we can live anywhere and still have all these friends. It's awesome. But yeah, I know that part's going to be tough, being further away from family and friends. But like Chris said, we're hoping to get lots and lots of visitors. We promise we'll make it fun if our friends and family want to come visit. That's a good question. So what do we have here? Everyday Spokane. She's ready to take over Costa Rica if she gets out. So about Suki.
I don't know. There's bigger cats than her there. I think.
Everyday Spokane. Are there Ubers and stuff in Costa Rica, and how do you get around?
Yeah, there's Ubers.
There's Uber there?
There's Ubers, yeah.
I'm glad you know that.
Taxis, there's buses. I've never taken a bus, but from what I've read, it's even a little more difficult to take buses in Costa Rica, because maybe it has something to do with that Pura Vida lifestyle where the bus might show up 10 minutes early or it might show up 10 minutes late. That's what I've been hearing.
Oh wow.
We plan on getting a vehicle. Going back to cost of living, man, vehicles are expensive there. You can expect to pay like twice as much for a vehicle in Costa Rica, roughly. And you can import a vehicle. The shipping really isn't all that bad to importing a vehicle, but right now the tax on an imported vehicle super high. You're better off buying something there. Also, if you import a vehicle, you want to make sure they have a similar vehicle to that in Costa Rica, because you don't want to import like a Ford F-150 and there's no other Fords there. You're not going to be able to get parts to work on it.
So
they got a lot of Toyotas and Hyundais there, but yeah, we can buy a vehicle.
Nice. Another question from Kier Smith. Will there be a big difference in diet from what you're familiar with in America?
Rice and beans.
It's so funny, when we went to Costa Rica, one thing we noticed about the food there is pretty much everywhere we ate was like farm to table. I remember we knew the name of the chicken who laid our eggs. every morning.
I thought you were going to
before-
say the chicken that we ate. I'm like, oh man, that's
Well,
kind
we
of morbid.
didn't eat chicken. I'm a vegetarian, so I wasn't eating any meat anywhere I went. But I remember like our hotel that we stayed at had its own garden. They had their own little thing of livestock, and they had a picture of our chickens. Like, here, she laid these eggs for you guys this morning. So I just thought it was so nice. And everywhere we went, everything was fresh and really good, and lots of fruit, lots of vegetables, and everything. We did have rice and beans every day, which I thought was delicious. So yeah, I think it's different. It's definitely different from what we eat here, but man, it was great. And I felt like my skin was a lot better because we were eating a lot because we were on vacation, but I felt like we were eating really healthy.
Well, and also too, that's part of the change we're looking for is a healthier lifestyle and healthier eating. I think the farm to table and farmer market food is maybe easier to get there, more widely available, and I think that will be a change we can make fairly easily.
Yeah, for sure. We want that. We want that change. Everyday Spokane. Does Costa Rica have any specific quarantine rules because of COVID? Do you have to stay inside all the time?
So, okay. They do, let's see, quarantine rules. I'm not so sure about quarantine rules. If you're visiting Costa Rica, you're planning to live there, whatever, if you're getting on a plane or you're crossing the border over to Costa Rica, you do need to have COVID insurance, COVID traveling insurance. They recently opened the borders to visitors. I don't Jazz knew when they did that. It's a few months ago.
It was in November, so all the states can visit Costa Rica now. It used to be like only one state at a time, depending on how we were doing on COVID. But then they just opened it up November of last year, so everyone can go. You do need a negative COVID test.
No, you don't.
You don't?
Nope, just to come back to the United States. So Costa Rica's a big portion of their economy, I believe, is based on tourism. And then I think coffee is another big part of their economy. But tourism. So COVID, it really started hurting with COVID and these travel restrictions. I think that's why they opened up their country. I kind of get the idea that maybe they're a little more laxed in Costa Rica for COVID restrictions. But also, too, I think people over there are spending more time outdoors than we do in the United States. So it may not be as bad over there. I really haven't heard a whole bunch about COVID over there. But Jazz and I are both vaccinated. Oh, you got one more shot to go.
Yeah, I have one more.
We're super thankful we were able to get that done before we go over there because we know it's going to be difficult for these smaller countries and to have access to those vaccines. So good we're here and we're able to get that done.
Yeah, for sure. Let's just see here. Does Chris really want to be a pro surfer?
Well, I figure, I'm 33 right now. If I stop cutting my hair right now, and once I move to Costa Rica, hit the beaches every day, I figure by the time I'm 35, I could be semi-pro surfer. So, all depending on how long I can get my hair.
Of course. All right, let's see what else we have here. Do you have an idea on what the moving expenses will look like? Travel, a new place, necessary documents.
Yes. So, a new place. We have an $800 monthly budget for our new apartment. Sarah Elena, our Costa Rica consultant, is helping us find a apartment with the criteria for that budget, and she says it's doable. So, yeah, hopefully we can find that. Travel, I don't know. Our tickets are probably gonna be like $600 a piece. I'm guessing to go down there. We have to buy round trip tickets too, because since we're not gonna have our residency right away, we actually have to be in the country to apply for residency. They're gonna want to see that we're gonna leave the country within 90 days. So we gotta get a return ticket. Hopefully we can find something that's refundable for that return. Documents, I think our lawyer he's costing us all in lawyer fees, the document preparation fees, and all that stuff. I think that's probably gonna be like $5,000 total, all in, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Our consultant, I don't want to say her pricing because it may have gone up, it may have gone down, but she was fairly affordable. I think she was between the $2,000, $2,500 range, maybe even less. I forget what she was.
Yeah.
But man, totally worth it. Both the lawyer and the consultant, we'd be flying blind without them.
Right.
So it's
Especially because some of our banking paperwork is in Spanish.
it's all in Spanish. All the banking paperwork is
It's in Spanish. And no, some of it was. Like, he gave us some documents in English. And
that
some of
wasn't
them were in Spanish.
That wasn't. Yeah, most of it was in Spanish. It's fairly intimidating signing papers in a different
In
language.
Spanish, yeah.
But man, there's all kinds of cool. I just downloaded an app on my phone. I can take a picture of a document in Spanish and it translates for me. And then we have a good friend who's fluent in Spanish.
Yeah.
I think Spanish was her first language.
Uh-huh.
And we had a video chat with her the other day, and she helped us. We had like 20 documents, and she was so nice.
Dedicate some of her afternoon. Was that her afternoon to help us?
We promise if you're watching, we're not going to do that to you again. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Everyday Spokane asked, what app is that you can take a picture of the document?
I don't have my phone. We'll post it in the comments. It was like, I think it was like, I paid like $75 for it, I think. But, I mean, it was worth it. It could save me, I'm going to be, we have to transfer thousands of dollars to this bank account to prove that we have money for this residency. So it could save me thousands of dollars, like actually knowing what I'm signing. So
Yeah.
it's worth the $75
Right.
for me. But yeah, we'll post it in there. What else we got?
I think that's it. I think those are all the questions we have. This has been great. Thanks for everyone who came to our first chat with us. Like, this has been great. I think we're going to do another Q&A for Costa Rica in 2 months. And yeah, if you have more questions along the way, just let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks everyone for showing up.
Yeah. And I guess we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah. Adios.
Bye.
One has to go.